You're going to think that the story I'm about to tell you is a complete fabrication. Some will believe I'm describing events that unfolded in another country, a third world dictatorial country. Maybe you'll even think I'm reading a page from Orwell's 1984, referring to some dystopian future. But no, this is in the here and now in the good old US of A. Local police in Marion, Kansas, with a population of about 1,900, conducted a raid on the offices of a local newspaper just last Friday. But that's not all. They also raided the homes of the newspaper's publishers and reporters, including the home of the 98-year-old co-owner, Joan Meyer. More on what happened to her after the raid in just a minute. And there's also a plot twist about the police chief who spearheaded the raid. Eric Meyer, the owner and publisher of the Marion County Record, said the city's entire 5-officer police force and 2 sheriff's deputies conducted the raid, which included the seizure of computers, cell phones, and reporting materials. Now, before we get to the reason for this North Korea-style raid, imagine being a reporter for this local newspaper and having your home raided and your personal belongings confiscated by the cops who are supposed to be protecting and serving you. Meyer, the newspaper's owner, said the raid and seizure stemmed from a confidential source leaking sensitive documents to the newspaper. He criticized the seizure, comparing it to seizures conducted by repressive government regimes.
Letting this Gestapo-like tactics, this Stalinist Russia-type tactics. This is what they do in the third world.
According to the Marion County Record, the publication's ordeal began when a confidential source leaked evidence that a local restaurant proprietor, that's Carrie Newell, had been convicted of drunk driving but continued using her car without a license. But here's the thing. The newspaper never published anything related to that information because the newspaper staff reportedly suspected the source was relaying information from Newell's husband during their divorce. Nonetheless, after police notified Newell that the information was going around, Carrie Newell alleged at a local city council meeting that the newspaper had illegally obtained and disseminated sensitive documents.
It's brought to my attention today that my private and personal information that was illegally obtained by a local reporter was shared with Councilmember Ruth Herbal. Ruth then took it upon herself to share that information with others.
According to reporting from the Kansas Reflector, Newell admitted to the drinking and driving arrest as well as driving with a suspended license. Yet she insinuated that the leak was meant to jeopardize her license to serve alcohol and harm her business. So basically, Carrie was being a Karen, and in the process, she told on herself in a public meeting. But as the Reflector reported, Newell's comments during the council meeting regarding disseminating sensitive documents were untrue. And she had police remove reporters for the Record from an open forum held by the U.S. Congressman Jake LaTurner at a coffee shop which she operates. Incidentally, LaTurner's staff had invited all the news media and later apologized. So the Meyer family's newspaper responded the following Thursday by publishing a story to set the record straight. Then came Friday's police raids, which were spearheaded by Police Chief Gideon Cody. These raids were authorized by a search warrant that alleged identity theft as well as unlawful use of a computer and had reportedly been signed by Judge Laura Villar, who's a Marion County District Court magistrate judge. Items seized by the police included computers, cell phones, and reporting materials found at the newspaper's offices, as well as at the homes of its reporters and co-owners. The Marion County Record was counting on some of the confiscated publishing and reporting materials to put out its next edition. Police did not give a time frame to the record for when seized computers and cell phones would be returned, but Meyer said that his newspaper was doing everything possible to maintain its normal publication schedule. Now, some are saying that the warrant signed by Meyer appears to violate a federal law that provides protections against searching and seizing materials from journalists. The law requires authorities to instead subpoena materials, the circumvention of which by the police prompted Eric Meyer to liken the raids his newspaper endured to those conducted by repressive government regimes. Then on Tuesday, it emerged that Police Chief Gideon Cody was also being investigated by the newspaper over allegations of sexual misconduct. Cody became the chief of the Marion County Police Department in late April after leaving the Kansas City Police Department, where he was a captain for 24 years. And of course, he left amid allegations of sexual misconduct. Oh, and remember 98-year-old Joan Meyer, the co-owner of the newspaper? Apparently, she was so distraught about her home being raided and ransacked that less than a full day later, on Saturday, after hours of being unable to eat or sleep and of being stressed beyond her limits, the 98-year-old Meyer dropped dead in her home.
My 98-year-old mother, who had lived in that house for 70 years, was so stressed out by police being there, 7 officers at one point, 2 of them watching her for hours, seizing her equipment, destroying her ability to turn on and off the lights by voice command, doing other things of that nature, seizing a router that had nothing to do with this. I mean, there's nothing they could obtain from a router. Photographing my personal financial information that was lying on a table near there. She got so upset about this that she couldn't eat, she couldn't sleep, and the next day she died of a heart attack.
Meyer's sudden death has since ignited an outcry from news media advocates who condemn the police raid as something straight out of the authoritarian playbook. Critics are calling the move an egregious trampling of free press protections enshrined in the Constitution's First Amendment. In a statement, Emily Bradbury, executive director of the Kansas Press Association, said, quote, "An attack on a newspaper office through an illegal search is not just an infringement on the rights of journalists, but an assault on the very foundation of democracy and the public's right to know. This cannot be allowed to stand." The chairperson of the National Newspaper Association, John Galler, added in a statement on Facebook, quote, "Newsroom raids in this country receded into history 50 years ago. Today, law enforcement agencies, by and large, understand that gathering information from newsrooms is a last resort, and then done only with subpoenas that protect the rights of all involved. For a newspaper to be intimidated by an unannounced search and seizure is unthinkable in an America that respects its First Amendment rights." John is wrong. We've all known for quite a while that cops don't respect constitutional boundaries. No newspaper or digital media corporation stood up for Julian Assange. No mainstream corporation is standing against the tyranny that happens to First Amendment auditors every single day. But maybe this is the event that'll serve as the wake-up call for people to get their heads out of their butt cracks and stand against all forms of tyranny affecting every American everywhere. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, the links are in the description. Grab a hard-hitting, conversation-starting design you can put on a shirt, hoodie, mug, cell phone case, pillowcase, whatever you want. But remember, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. I'll see you in the next video.